Let's continue our journey through the Bible as we look at Paul's first missionary journey. Saul's life had become completely changed. He could not understand it all at once, and so he went off on his own for a little while into the deserts of Arabia. Like others before him, Moses, Elijah, Jesus, he needed to spend time away from the other people, alone, in a silent wilderness. Before, when he was still a rabbi, he had wanted to judge what was good and evil in other people. But now he realized that God accepts men just as they are, as a father accepts his child. Saul returned to the people who needed him. He spent 12 years working quietly and simply among the poor and the sick. And then one day, God called him. He was to go on a journey that would be a turning point in the story of Christianity. He was to travel to Antioch, which was a very important city. Now let's move on to Paul's second journey. From now on, Saul used the name the Romans gave him, Paul. He returned to Jerusalem with Barnabas, and a meeting of members of the new church was called to discuss a problem that was worrying some of them. Do we expect the Gentiles to become Jews before they become Christians, they asked. Do they have to eat Jewish food? Do they have to be circumcised? And Paul persuaded them that they did not. He told them that faith and love were more important than rules and traditions. Then Paul and Barnabas returned to Antioch and continued their teaching there and in other Mediterranean cities. Paul wanted to travel to the east as he had before, but a strange thing kept happening. Each time he set out, something stopped him. Then, one evening, he was in the port of Troas, talking to a seaman who had come from Rome and Greece. With him were Silas and Timothy, and a Greek doctor called Luke. That night, Paul had a dream. He was standing on the shore, as he had been doing that day, looking towards the distant lands of the west. The sun lay low over the mountains, and the sea rose and fell around the islands, and suddenly he saw a man across the water, and he stretched out his arms and called, "Come, Paul, help us. Come here." Paul woke and he told Luke what he had dreamed, and together they set sail. They arrived in Athens and brought the word of Christ to a new continent, to Europe. And now, here is a little bit about Paul's third journey. It was evening. Paul was on his third great tour. He had stopped off at Troas to speak to the Christian community there. The upstairs room was warm and filled with people, and the windows were open to the night. A boy named Eutychus sat perched on the windowsill. Everyone in the room was listening to Paul, and none of them noticed that the boy had fallen asleep. Suddenly, he pitched over the edge and fell 3 stories to the stones below. He seemed to be dead, but Paul bent down and gently lifted his arms. "He lives," he said, and carried him into the house. The Christians stayed talking to Paul until daybreak. Then they left, taking the boy with them, quite unharmed. "If I speak with the voice of an angel," wrote Paul to the Christians at Corinth, "and feel no love, then my words are ugly and without music. If I speak like a prophet and know everything, and even have the power to move mountains, but have no love, I am nothing. If I give everything I have to the poor, and if I am willing to die for my faith, but have no love, it means nothing. Love is patient, and love is kind. Love is not envious. Love does not boast, nor is it proud. Love harms no one. Love is generous. It never holds a grudge. Love takes no pleasure in the weakness of others, but is joyful when it sees the truth. It endures everything, believes everything, hopes for everything, bears everything. Love never fails. We have faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love." So Paul reveals to us what our greatest asset as a child of God is, and that's love. Because truly we cannot accomplish anything without love and understanding love. The love God had for us through his Son Jesus and through the filling of the Holy Spirit. The love that we have to have towards one another. I have to admit that I fall short many times on loving others. There's particular people in my life now and who have been in my life in the past who have caused great problems for me because of their jealousy and their contempt and hatred. And all too often, I've returned it with the same thing to them. And that's very wrong. That's against the command of God. Somebody deceitfully uses me or you. We're expected to what? Forgive them and love them. That doesn't mean we have to let them do it to us again. But we have to forgive them and love them. It's a command to forgive. So that was a look at Paul's third missionary journey. And when we get together the next time, we're going to look at Paul in Jerusalem and in Rome. Have a great evening, and God bless.
Opening number 1, take 3. 1!